Well, after a week off, we welcome you back, everybody, to The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide with A.J. McCarron and Trent Richardson. I'm Chris Stewart. Glad to have you with us. Do want to remind you that new episodes of the show drop just about every week on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you happen to get your podcasts. And, of course, if you're looking for the show, just go to thedynastybama.com. At The Dynasty Bama is where we ask you to listen, rate, review, and be sure to check us out across social media. Guys, today on the show, we're going to talk SEC Media Days, but where Bama ended up in the preseason poll, which Alabama players were named all SEC. Also, we'll hear from Kalen DeBoer, react to what the head man of the Crimson Tide had to say in Atlanta. And also, we'll talk to you about the elite list Alabama is on and what's going to be required to win a national title in 2025. We'll finish things up getting into the loudest moments that we've all experienced at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Guys, before we get into the football, well, the Alabama football part of it, I got to ask AJ what it's like being camp director. I mean, you came onto the scene as far as a lot of people nationally are concerned with your ability to do really, really well in some of those national quarterback camps and, of course, what you did on the field. But tell us what you had going on recently and how much fun was it?
Yeah. So we held my 10th annual free football camp. We had a little lesser crowd this year than what we usually have had, but we had still 300 to 400 kids show up.
And that's
s-
smaller?
yeah,
Good
yeah.
grief.
Usually we're 5 to probably top end 700, but it was awesome to be doing it for 10 years, to have awesome sponsors. Academy is a huge sponsor of ours, and some other local owned companies and businesses. And it was just awesome. It ran great. We had good weather. The rain started pouring down about 30 minutes after we finished. So to be doing it for 10 years in my city is truly a blessing, and it was awesome to be a part of again.
And I get asked this all the time. You're in Mobile.
Yep.
You're back home there. And in Mobile, Trent, for you in the Birmingham area now in Hoover and staying busy as well. What's the last couple of weeks been doing to occupy your time?
Uh, Kids, kids, of course. Getting my daughter ready for school. Getting her ready for the 13. It's gonna be
Yeah.
a tough day for me, man. My daughter going to college, and so I'm getting prepared for that moment. I don't know how to prepare for that moment. As a parent,
Yeah.
I can remember the day I left school, when I left home to go to school, and it was funny because Coach Saban cussed me out. Well, he cussed my brother out that day. But it was one of those things where my mom, right before I was good, right before I closed the door of the car, she said, "Just don't forget about me."
Mm.
And it broke me down. Man, I cried probably 30
Mm.
to an hour. Like I cried about 30 minutes to an hour, man. So
Yeah.
just getting prepared for that. And TJ had some Nike games this weekend. Went down there, lost in the championship. They said he couldn't guard everybody, man. They said he did real good and he led the team the whole way. But other than that, man, just getting those boys prepared at Hoover, getting those guys, ready for IMG first game of the year, and hopefully we start off with a great year and keep plugging at it.
Yeah. Coaching now, for those that didn't know, and man, I can feel for you on the goodbye to the parents for college. I still remember mine, but even more so, my son starting his 2 years ago. Whew, I ain't even going to go there right now. We'll just move on. So I won't tear up either, just thinking back on it. But big storyline, obviously, SEC Media Days and taking place in Atlanta. Alabama picked behind Texas and Georgia in the media poll. A lot of guys. We'll talk about the players in the first team, but let's talk about first and foremost. Does anything stand out to you guys in terms of the predicted order of finish with Alabama or the rest of the league, for that matter? Let's start with whichever one of you wants to. That was
No, I mean,
lousy job on my part. Sorry.
no, I mean, I think they have Bama where they should be. Listen, Texas is super hyped this year. I think a lot of that has to do with the hype Arch is getting, but um, they've been able to retain a lot. They should have a really good defense. They've always had weapons on offense. So, in a lot of people's eyes, uh, I know a lot of people have them as the number one team in the country. Starting the year off, and then Georgia. I mean, Kirby is what Kirby is. Like, he's unbelievable at recruiting. Um, Georgia's biggest thing is staying out of trouble, and they've done better this offseason than past couple years, keeping guys out of the county jail. But um, it's I think Georgia's going to be a really good team again. And then you got Bama, right? A lot of returning starters on defense. A highly ranked O-line, which I still confused on that. I hope they are. But and then you got a new quarterback in Ty. You got weapons out wide, but I still think there's some question marks there for that offense. And for me, it's the O-line and being able to create a run game. So I don't have any issues with um the preseason polling, I guess.
How about for you, Trent?
I ain't got no problem with it. I definitely don't feel like Alabama should be number one right now. I think they in the right position right now, and they got to work for it. Like you got to. I think Georgia, like AJ said, they got to stay out of trouble. And it's funny. I laugh because it's like deja vu. It's like that's what we went through that process for a second, right?
Right.
And we see it every year. Some players, they get in trouble. They have too much time on their hand, or now they got money, and so it get out of hand. Sometimes you give kid hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even thousands of dollars. They're going go out and do some crazy stuff. Sometimes, not saying all of them are, but it is what it is. But when it comes to football, Kirby's going to have that team prepared for the season, and they're going to go on and make the playoffs, and they're going to be great. When it comes to Texas, I'm, I'm trying to see what's the hype. I'm not disrespecting Texas. I love that university. I actually wanted to go there growing up, but I'm talking about from the quarterback position. I know they're excited. At the same time, like, y'all got this kid ranked number one in the Heisman race right now. That's crazy. And ain't played a snap or real, I ain't gonna say a snap. He haven't started a real season as a real quarterback for the whole season. So we don't know what to expect through the season, how he's gonna come out, So it's gonna be a fun season. I think it's gonna be one of those seasons that, the SEC is going to. I think SEC has got dominant and strong players again.
Yeah.
And they're getting a lot when it comes to NIL. Like I don't think right now, man, the SEC is just taking over all of it.
Real quick, I know that there's a difference in just being on the watch list and being the favorite. But this time of year, so much stuff gets thrown out. And I say what I'm about to say with no disrespect towards Jake at all, but there's so much garbage that's thrown out. Jake Coker, I'm talking about, when he transferred from Florida State to Alabama, was on the preseason watch list for the Heisman, and he didn't win the starting job. Now, the next year, he led Alabama to a national championship. He ultimately became the guy, big part of Alabama winning the whole thing. But it's, it's blindfolds and they're throwing darts sometimes with this stuff.
So, Chris, are you telling me media members, guys that have never played the game, don't always know what the hell they're talking about?
Only most of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just sharing old stories, boys. That's all I'm doing here.
Feinbaugh said he was the best quarterback ever.
Feinbaum said what? For who?
He was the best quarterback ever in the SEC. So
Who said
we
who
got
was?
Who? Tebow?
Feinbaum.
Feinbaum. Wait, back up.
Feinbaum said what?
Are you just
He was
throwing?
the best quarterback in the SEC that ever came around. That's why we got to listen to what he said.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm sorry.
We got
I'm
to
sorry.
accept the
Paul
vote.
himself was. Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
he was the guy.
Yeah, he's Paul will tell you a lot of things, but he won't tell you he was an athlete because everybody knows that's not true. Let's move on to the players in the media poll that were picked first team offense for Alabama. Ryan Williams, Caden Proctor, no shock there. I'll tell you what is surprising though. As much attention, we talked about this before we started rolling, guys. As much attention and respect as there is for the Alabama defense, it's not really there in terms of the first team status because that's just a different deal. You got nobody picked first team for the Bama defense. So you got Tim Keenan the third, LT Overton, Deontay Lawson, and Damani Jackson are all picked second team. But did they make a mistake, the ones voting, in not putting somebody from Bama on there? Or do you think the number of guys you have splits the vote a little bit?
I really have an issue with the people that are voting, right? And I mean,
It's the ones
I
that
really
are there.
do.
I mean, that's what that vote is. It's the ones that are there.
Yeah, I have an issue with that. I mean, you should have true credibility where you've been in the game a certain amount of years. There should be something that holds your opinion, holds weight to your opinion, right? Like, I have a real issue with this, but at the same time, for Bama guys, like, hell, I take it as disrespect and then go out and prove something. Right? The fact that you don't have any guys on defense, on the first team, go out and prove something. Listen, if anything, the fact that they're flying a little bit under the radar this year when it comes to star talent, star players, I guess.
Yeah.
Or what the media members thinks is star players. That's great for them. Fly under the radar and go out and prove yourself and make them eat their words. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you let it bother you as a player and just use it as fuel to the fire.
Jeremy, excuse me, Trent, Jeremy Bernard is not picked first team. He's a guy I know you like a lot. Obviously, Ryan Williams makes that first team at wideout. Cam Coleman from Auburn, also first team. Aaron Anderson of LSU, Ryan Wingo of Texas. But then it's not even Jeremy on third team because they go with Kevin Coleman of Mizzou and Eric Singleton of Auburn. He's the transfer from Georgia Tech, but no Jeremy Bernard. But I know the guy, been around him a good bit, think the world of him, and he may not be on one of these first three teams, but I'll take that guy because of who he is on the field, but also a great locker room guy as well.
Man, like what AJ just said, man, it comes a disrespect when it comes to, these guys not, getting their, proper props when it comes to, how good they really are. Bernard, like, he's not on neither one of those teams. Like, are we watching the same football game? Like, what are we doing? Like, he had the most receptions on the team last year. And he was catching the ball. Like,
Yeah.
I'm lost, man. Like, like AJ said, like, whoever is choosing these guys, like, you got to start getting guys that got some type of credibility, man. Like, for real. Like, you let these guys come in and water down our game, and it takes some of the hype from the game when these guys on the outside that's never put on a helmet that are voting for these guys because they don't know how it is in those trenches. Now, I ain't saying everybody got to go out there and be a superstar, but get some guys out there that actually played the game and let them do the voting.
And again, there's there are polls that are. I mean, that's what some of the polls are. The AP poll, the coaches have their rankings. This is simply those that are there at SEC Media Days.
Well, there's
Well,
too much bias in it.
Yeah.
I don't
From
disagree.
like pick certain members that are national members, not local. Pick national members that have no bias
Yeah.
to it, that have been around commentating or been around involved in media around the game for a long time, and take the bias out of the
And
vote.
take the fan site stuff out of it. Those,
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. Let's go this route. Let's take a look at the quarterback slot. 3 guys picked all SEC. Lenora Sellers of South Carolina first. Garrett Nussmeier of LSU second. Arch Manning third on the list. I know he hadn't done it. The name is Manning, but let's go collectively. Do you think the position as a whole is better in the SEC?
It's better this year than it was last year as a whole.
Yeah.
Because I would say, because you got guys that have played that were young last year, younger from a playing standpoint in their career, and now they're returning. I tell you, I really have an issue again with media and voting. How in the hell you pick Lenore Sellers, who I've been, and y'all can tell me if I'm lying, I've been one of his biggest fans and talking about South Carolina for weeks now. I think they could be a team that has a chance to win the SEC championship this year. They have they're losing on defense, but if Coach Beamer puts that together, but how in the hell do you pick Lenore Sellers as the first quarterback on the All SEC team over Garrett Nussmeier? We'll just go off stats alone. Garrett Nussmeier, 4,052 yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, had a QBR of 80. Lenore Sellers, 2,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, 7 INTs, a 69 QBR. What are we talking about?
I will tell you this. I'll tell you this, and I think it's, and I'm going to give you one explanation, and then I'm going to contradict the explanation on the other side. And I'm not saying I believe what I'm about to tell you.
You better
I
not
think
turn into
this
one of
is-
the media guys.
Yeah, right. But I loved you guys, so that doesn't count. So we're sitting here talking about projections. It's not necessarily who you are, because you're saying, who do you think is going to finish first? Who do you think will be by the end? So I think there are probably some guys that if you ask them that voted, you go, well, I just think this guy's better. To me, it's a projection of who will be the best, who will be better at the end of the year. And I can see somebody maybe making the argument, they think by season's end that they think Lenora Sellers will have a better year than Garrett Nussmeier. Now, I don't agree with that.
Tell them to lay off the drugs.
Do what now?
Tell those members to lay off the drugs. Stephen A. Smith, lay off the weed.
I'm going to follow up with saying, I'm not sure how you're going to pick Lenora Sellers to have a better year when in the same ranking system, you've got 2 all-conference receivers for LSU, but none for South Carolina.
Right.
So,
not
anyway.
only that, there's been algorithms that have ran. I think LSU's predicted they ran like 80 to 90,000 different scenarios, and LSU's overall win percentage or amount of games they should win is like 9.3 or 4. South Carolina was 6.2 or 6.3. But if watch, just ask quarterbacks, and to have 10 quarterbacks that just sit there and watch Garrett Nussmeier play the game and Lenore Sellers play the game, and when it comes to playing the quarterback position when you have to throw the football and win games by throwing the football, it's not even close. It's not even close. I thought Garrett was the best quarterback in the SEC last year, and I didn't think it was close from a throwing wise. He was young, first year starting, making mistakes, but it's not even close. Like, it's ridiculous. And then I'll tell you another slap in the face, and then let Trent go. But the fact that Lagway's not on this and Arch made it over him is also a slap in the face. And that's not a knock to Arch. I love the Manning family. I've known them for years and years and years. And I think Arch is going to be a hell of a player. But you're talking about a guy that rotated in every once in a while when Sark got mad at Quinn. And, oh, Quinn, come here. You need to take a break. All right, Arch. And he's getting pressure to play Arch. But Lagway played for most of the year. Like, I just don't understand that either. So there's a lot of question marks I have when it comes to this.
I think he does.
I agree
Trent.
with you. I agree with you because I was just about to say, like, how we missing a guy from Florida? Like, that was gonna be my argument. Like, that guy there can play too. Like, he can. I mean, and of course, man, Arch can throw the ball. We don't have no question about that. But we haven't seen him in a full season. We haven't seen him in a full game. We haven't seen him beat a guy. Like, it's something when you're the guy, but it's something when you're coming behind the guy too.
All right. When we come back, take a deep breath. We'll talk about Bama's quarterbacks. Kalen DeBoer, what he had to say about the Tide's quarterback position from his appearance at SEC Media Day. Stay with us. We're glad you're with us for The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcome back to The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. New episodes of the show dropping each and every week on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you happen to get your podcasts. If you're looking for the show, just go to thedynastybama.com. And also, we ask you to please listen, rate, and always be sure to share and check us out across social media at The Dynasty Bama. All right, let's hear a little bit from Coach Kalen DeBoer during SEC Media Days. The first clip we're going to hear, guys, he is breaking down the quarterback position.
We did make it known after the end of the spring that if we played a game at that point, and it really wouldn't have changed even at this point because there's nothing that's happened as far as practicing. Ty Simpson would be the guy that would take the first snaps and be our starter. Challenged all of them at that time that they have to continue to take the strides. They got to continue in their own ways, improve. They've really, I know, worked hard to do that. And excited to see that progress 2 weeks from today. But they have the tools. Ty, throws a catchable ball. He's smart. He's been in, college football now. Is going year 4. He's seen the ups and downs. He's got great relationships with the team. He's a leader that way. He's really owned things, I think, on another level. And then, Austin Mack. I mean, if he walked in here, the guy's 6'6", 230, 235. He's got a presence about him, and that carries over to how he throws the football. Really took his most meaningful snaps in college this spring, working with the 1s and 2s. And then Keelan Russell, you would never have guessed that he's I guess a lot of guys would be graduating from high school here about a month ago. Really a high school senior, early enrollee that came in and just learning the system, learning college football, has taken these huge strides in the course of the spring. And now, again, getting that install over and over again in the summer and going into the fall, I'm confident he's going to make big jumps as well.
Bottom line, AJ, they've got talent at the position, but they've got one veteran right now, and that is Ty Simpson, and that's why he's getting the majority of the talk and will probably take those first snaps, whether it's the first snap in Tallahassee or not, still to be determined, but that's the guy that makes the most sense right now.
Yeah, 100%. There's things I take listening to Coach DeBoer talk right there where the biggest thing I took from the Ty talk was the fact that he has more command and takes ownership, like that right there told me everything I needed to know. Like, all right, he thinks this guy has what it takes, and this is going to be our starter. When he talked about Austin Mack, he talked about his size and presence and how that can carry over to him throwing the football. He didn't really elaborate. So I think Ty's, just from hearing Coach talk, I think it's clear that Ty's, above everybody else. And then Keelan's, young. You can hear him about talking about how talented he is, but what I take from it is he get these installs, and so that lets me know, okay, well, he needs more reps, really truly learning the offense, taking these installs home, spending this off time of July that they had, really understanding the ins and outs of the offense. But you have a ton of talent. Listen, Austin Mack, I've seen him in person. He's a massive kid. Throws the ball really well. From watching him before games, warm up and stuff, ball comes out great. And then Keelan, highly ranked quarterback coming out of high school, ton of talent. Everybody talks about it. Even while he's up there, they talk about how talented this kid can be. So you have a ton of talent, but I think it's clearly Ty's job, and I'm excited for him to go out and prove his worth this year.
Trent, when you're talking about Keelan Russell, all the things that AJ just said, you've got to see him learn the system. You've got to see him, even though physically he comes in at a great spot. The speed of the game at this level and the speed of what he's facing is as much a part of it as anything else, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big part of it. AJ can tell you that window closed so fast. And you got to know where to put the ball. You got to know how to throw a 1-inch throw. And you got to be able to command that locker room, like that huddle. Like, one thing I learned about Keelan, his heart. The kid got a lot of heart, man. I talked to Coach a little bit, and he was talking about, the stuff that he's been going through, since he's been in school. A lot of people don't know, like, that kid, like, he lost his sister,
Right.
his twin, and that's tough, man. Like, you just getting there, and they went to go get her some to eat and came back, she was, so it's one of those things where, man, is how do you even remain in school? And for those players to went to bat for that kid, and they had that kid back. They've been around him. They've been loving on him. They went to the funeral. They did all this other stuff, man, and that means family. That means love. And so just to see that kid still there, he's still, his head is level. He's still working, and to go through that spring and knowing all that stuff, man, like, that's tough, man. Like I said, that kid got a lot of heart, man. I got a lot of respect for that kid, man. To go through that process, man. And then you got to go battle with some guys. Listen, every one of our quarterbacks, I think, was 5 stars at some point, right? It was 5 or 4 stars. And so what people don't realize, like, that room ain't, that room is deep when it comes to, guys can go out there and actually play at any school in the nation for real. So, man, DeBoer got a hard job. He got a hard job, man. But listen to what he said. I'm like AJ. I like to listen to the small stuff. He said, "Ty, throw a catchable ball." That's all I need to hear. He throws a catchable ball. He didn't say that about anybody else, and not knocking the other guys, but he said he throw a catchable ball. If it's catchable, Ryan should be able to go get it. Bernard should be able to go get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that should back those guys up so Jam Miller can, do his thing. The running backs can have their day. And of course you got to protect them, right? But I think Ty is the guy. If they play today or tomorrow, he's the guy. He's throwing a catchable ball. That's what I got from him.
The only thing when I hear you say catchable ball that concerns me, and I'm not saying Ty's in this mix, but I always worry about Coach saying, he catches or throws a catchable ball. The problem is the defense catches it as much as the offense does. And that ultimately is going to be, that's going to be ultimately a part of it too, for these guys. The choices, the decisions they make, the ability to throw it into a tight window, but should you throw it into one? That's another question.
100%. Listen, and Bama fans can't go into this. They better learn some patience, right? And I can say this because I've played there. We've all played, myself and Trent and Chris, you've been around it. If there's one thing that Alabama fans lack, it's some patience.
It's patience.
So Ty has been there. This is his 4th year, but this is his first year to truly start. All 3 of your guys, this would be their first year to start. So either route you go, there's going to be bumps along the way, right? Ty's biggest hurdle is going to be manage as much as possible. Manage these bumps. Don't let these bumps get our car off course and we take another route. Let's hit the bump. Oh, we might have a little dent in the rim or a flat tire real quick. Let's hurry up, change it, and get back on the same course, right? Like, don't allow these bumps to just really total the whole season out and total the car. So Bama fans need to understand this and have some patience with Ty. He's a very smart kid, but you also don't want to put this pressure on him that he has to be perfect and can't make any mistakes, especially early in the season. And all of a sudden you wreck this kid's confidence. And hopefully Ty's not watching social media or listening to everybody that's sitting in their basement, thinks they understand football, typing up a response on Twitter. But I don't want this kid to lose his confidence off of some tough games or some tough throws or bad decisions. Like, let him gain his confidence, because when it comes to the end of the year, when you look at my first year, when I first started, and this is how I'm kind of looking at Ty for this year, we have a great defense in 2011. We had great running backs, right? Let's lean on Trent. And then when it got late in the year and we're going into the national championship or you're going into big time games, okay, we know these teams are going to load the box. We know they're going to play more man-to-man coverage. Now it's on you. I still remember Jim McElwain saying, hey, in those 34 days we had in that before we played LSU in the national championship, he literally came to me and said, this game is on you. We are going to throw it early and often. I need you to be successful. I was ready for that moment, right? Because I'd had the whole year, and there were certain times where in certain games, the Florida game, I throw Mays a back shoulder fade on a big 3rd down. We're backed up. That really kind of put the game away. But you have those moments throughout the year, and for Ty, he needs to make those moments count when he has them. But you don't need every moment to be on him, and you don't want the pressure to be on him at all times either. So let this kid grow organically, and then at the end of the year, when you're in the playoffs and you're facing these tough games, now you can put more on his shoulders.
Let's get into that, Trent. Let's hear what Coach DeBoer had to say about big moments that wind up defining all players, but especially quarterbacks.
So experience, and I think really when it comes down to where do you want to improve, where do you need to get better, it's reps. All of us get better at our jobs by taking more reps. Myself as a head coach at this place here at Alabama, you guys in your roles, our players, and then it's reps together. And so again, familiarity, continuity, repetitions. We got to be better in the big moments. We lost some close games last year, and we had chances, maybe not even the 4th quarter, but we had chances earlier in the game to separate ourselves or make a play here or there. And whether it was the belief or whether it was the confidence, a lot of that just comes through repetitions. And so we've really had a great offseason, understanding where we fell short, why we fell short, not just the what and the how, but the why. And I'm excited about our guys, taking those next steps, understanding when we get in those moments this year, those critical times, how to come through and make the play that's necessary to go win football games.
Trent, you heard it with Coach Saban. We hear it from Coach DeBoer, and you hear it from all coaches talking about learning from mistakes. But how do you actually do that? How do you fix it when it goes wrong?
I mean, it started in practice. Started in the summer program, started in the off season. I know I was just talking about this with one of my best friends on the phone earlier. I said, man, one thing about it, we used to start fourth quarter program 2 weeks after the national championship game, but we would be behind. And
Yeah.
so the repetition for that next group, for that next team, like Nick let you know, like each team have their own identity. When I left, AJ had to let everybody know, like, hey, he's gone. What are we going to do? When Julio and Mark left, like I had to step in and be like, hey, we don't have a Heisman winner. We don't have a Julio Jones. So what's going to be your stamp on it? And so me, repping with those guys, like I spent so much. And when he mean reps, like I want people to realize, like we're not just talking about on the field, like mentally, go get them reps. Go watch film.
Yeah.
Like go in there with your offensive line. Go in there with your quarterback. Learn the concept of the play. Go in there with your offense coordinator. Hell, go in there with your linebackers. See how they thinking. Like reps means reps mentally and on the field physically. And so I agree with him, man. When you get in those big moments, those mental reps that you already seen it play, you already been through it mentally in your head. Like, listen, I seen 90% of my runs in my head before they ever happened. And that was
Pretty
off
good.
mental reps. And that was off, okay, I done repped this so many times on the field, and my head is already programmed.
All right. I want to come back to that maybe next week because I want to hear you guys talk about one game in particular, that LSU loss, and how you got yourselves back in that national championship game. There's one thing I remember. We're going to save it because I want to be able to spend some time on it. I want to move to something else that became a big part of the conversation at media days. And if it had been somebody else there other than Greg McElroy, it probably doesn't get talked about as much. But AJ, when it's one of Coach's former quarterbacks and one of the more prominent members of college football broadcasting these days, as Greg is, it carries a lot of weight. And he made the comment that he didn't think Coach Saban was through. In fact, he said he got that rumor from someone very much in the know that Coach may not be done coaching. Now, Kristen, who we all know, his daughter's come out and said that ain't true. He ain't coming back. But do you guys think? I'll get your thoughts. Do you think do you see a scenario where Nick Saban would go back into coaching next year?
No. Now, do I think Greg was just lying? No, I don't. I believe he probably has some people that he truly trusts and is around Coach, and I'm sure Coach at some point is expressed about he could still do it. Um, I just he's built a legacy here. I don't see Coach ever diminishing that and kind of leaving the Alabama legacy behind. He's got a statue. If he bounces around again, I think there's only. It's funny because right before we started talking about this. He called me. So there's no telling what that's about. But yeah. So.
Are you in trouble again?
Man, listen, I'm not in it. I'm not in this, AJ.
Yeah, there's no telling. But I just don't see. And they were talking about NFL. His style's not NFL. He knows that. He realized that. He likes being able to mold young men into the certain players he wants and teaching them the right way. You can't do that at the NFL level. You can't talk to other grown men with families and multiple kids. It just doesn't work, right? So there's only one school he would I could ever see him coming back for, and this is just because you can just say I know. I'll never talk more in depth on it, but I could see him coming back to college for the University of Texas. The fact that Texas has Sark and Sark's not going anywhere. So nothing's happening there. I think he loves his job. He's able to travel. He loves the crew he's with, college game day crew, be around the game still, be able to watch film, break guys down. He gets paid a ton. He still gets paid by the University of Alabama, having his office in the stadium. Like, all those things change, right? The name of the stadium, the field, all that changes if he goes somewhere else in college. I just don't see him, ruining his legacy like that.
Perception does. The name ain't coming off the field. I don't think.
You never know. Alabama fans are quick.
Trent, your turn.
Nah,
the
I don't see
dumpster
it
fire's
happening.
lit again. You go ahead and put it out.
Yep.
Here's a blanket. Smother it.
Yeah, I don't see it happen. I agree with AJ. But I don't see it happening on personal side. And for me, like, when I talked to him about getting into coaching, and it kind of gave me an indicator, like, okay, coach, he probably about to retire. When I was talking to him about it, he was like, man, I know you're big on family, and this is not a family-friendly business. I've been coaching over 40-some years. I never got to spend one day with one of my kids, like just a full day with them. And you're like, now I got these grandkids I want to get to know. And, it's, when I be asking questions about stuff, and it'd be like, where was I, when this happened? He was coaching. He was, and that's how coach was showing love. He was working it. He was working, showing his tail, like working his tail off. And so one thing he told me was like, soon as you say you're going to coach, you automatically adopt all those kids. And just knowing Coach and Miss Terry, like, I know Miss Terry probably, she
ain't letting it happen.
Yeah, she's not letting it happen. Like, it's.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. It don't matter what Kristen says.
Yeah, it don't matter what
Coach says.
Yeah,
it matters what Miss Terry says.
100%.
Yeah, Miss Terry, she the boss. She the boss.
Yeah, that's
who's that from?
Oh, that's him.
That's him.
That's him.
Go ahead and Go ahead and call him. Put him on the show right now. Yeah. We'll be fine. He'll love that.
And the best part is he'll send me he'll call me from because his thing always pops up no caller ID, even though I have his number. And then he'll send me a text, which it's probably Sed or somebody sending me the text that says, Coach Saban tried to call you, call back when you can. Like, rather than just saying, call me because I have your number, and when you send the text, your name pops up and just says, hey, call me. It goes into like, Coach Saban tried to call you, call him back.
It's a process.
Listen, AJ, now I'm looking at my phone like, bro, what did you do? Like,
Dude,
what have you done?
I haven't done anything. I've been out of the media unless he's which I doubt he's getting mad about the Hugh Freeze. So
on that note, good time for a break. We'll come back, and who knows? I think actually we're going to talk about a metric that's come out that says Bama can win the national title this season. I don't know that we need metrics to figure that out, but we'll dive into the loudest moments as well that we've all experienced at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Stay with us. We are continuing with The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. We call it The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. We put the podcast everywhere you'd find them: YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you happen to get them. And if you're looking for the show, just go to thedynastybama.com. Also, we'd love for you to listen, rate, review. Check us out across social media at The Dynasty Bama. All right, guys, in our final segment here, CBS Sports' Bud Elliott released his annual blue chip ratio. It's a list of teams who have recruited more than 50% 4- and 5-star players over the last 4 classes. Since 2011, every national champion has met that blue chip ratio, and for many, it's viewed as a requirement if you're going to win a national title, just because the numbers always seem to match up. This year, Alabama's one of 18 teams that meet that criteria. Buckeyes tied at the top with an 89% blue chip ratio. 9 of the 18 on that list play in the SEC. So what I want to know is, what do you view as necessary attributes for a team to be able to win a national title? Start with you, Trent. What do you got? What are things that make a national championship contender at this time of year?
At this time of the year, at work ethic, man. Like the stuff. Like I tell people this all the time, and I might have said this before on the show. Like the stuff that I seen on Rocky movies, like how he was, beating up his body, preparing his body.
Yeah.
It's like that's how you got to prepare, physically and mentally when it comes to trying to be a national championship team.
Right.
Like you got to go through that heat. You got to go through chase the chickens. You got to go get in the middle of the ring.
Chase the chickens.
Yeah, like
I
you
love
got
that.
to.
I
Like,
remember Rocky. I know what you're talking about. All right. In addition to that, let me be a little more specific on some stuff. I'm sorry. And Stephen Gorgie, our producer, did a great job of reminding me. Uh, do you think it's balance across both sides of the ball? Do you think it's having a specific unit that dominates? Is it being able to dominate in the trenches? What about an elite quarterback? Have you got to have those things in this day and age? Really, is it basically having a dual threat QB these days? What of those things do you think really matters most?
um, I'm so old. I like the balance. But in today's game, I think you gotta have a quarterback that got a little wiggle. But he got to be able to throw the ball. Like, and if you don't have if you can't run a ball in this league now, especially right now because it's so pass heavy right now, you're in trouble. So any team that won a national championship been able to run a ball. Any team that won a Super Bowl been able to run a ball.
Right.
But if you cannot run the ball, I don't see how do you stop guys from going in double brackets the whole game, or you guys from being double teamed. I mean, you cut Ryan Williams off last year, right? Who was the next guy up, and we know Bernard was the next guy. But now you take him away too. Can we run the ball with the running backs? Can we? No, are we going to run it with Jalen? You get what I'm saying? Like that's part of being a balanced team. If you don't have that run game and don't put your hits on your quarterback, like I wouldn't. Listen. If anybody was touching AJ when I was playing, like we was having problems. You were not touching my quarterback. You weren't touching Greg. You weren't touching AJ. That's just how you was seasoned in the running back room. So I think you got to be balanced all the way around, but you gotta have a defense. And so to me, it's not a specific group that needs to stand out. But today's game, I think the receiver group is going to always, right now, be the group that's going to be the high dollar guys and cornerbacks.
How about for you, AJ?
I think it's just retention of the roster. I think your best teams are the teams that have found a way to keep the guys there and not lose a ton of guys in the transfer portal. All 27 of those windows. I think you look at a lot of these coaches, Dabo Swinney caught a lot of hell for kind of sticking up for what he believed in when this whole transfer portal was going crazy when it first started a couple years back. And Dabo, had some down years, but stay true to what he believed in, hey, I'm going to get guys here, keep them here, and then we'll be back. They were a playoff team last year. They won the ACC, and he kept almost everybody. I mean, they're probably going to have the best D-line in the country, one of the best defenses in the country. They have a quarterback that's been there for multiple years now. I think retention of the roster is the biggest key. And I think you see organizations, schools trying to go back to that concept a little bit more to where they're trying to keep as many guys there as they can. I mean, because if you don't, you're in a hole when it comes to building a team every year, right? But if
Right.
you're one of these teams that can keep these guys there and build, prime example, Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. last year. Should have won multiple games on the games they lost.
Yeah.
Had Texas beat, right? Like other games, but why do you think they were in those games? Does anybody think Vandy is recruiting the same athletes as Texas or Alabama or LSU? Not a chance in hell. No, right? But he built a program. He built a brotherhood, a team that bought into what Clark Lee, the head coach, believed in, the way he wanted things done, and they went out and played as a team. In a time period of college football, that an era we're in, where there is no team. Everything's about me, right? How much money can I make? I get to leave your school whenever the hell I want. There's no rules that stop me. This school over here is going to pay me $400,000. All right, I'm going to commit to them. I can be there for 5 days, and another school hits me up, and I can transfer right back to them. There's no team. There's no loyalty in this. So if you can find a way as a head coach to create a true team, a brotherhood, and a family, I think you're in the driver's seat in this era of college football.
I agree with you to a degree on Vandy, but we also all know that while there is that, they also managed to go out and get a guy to play quarterback and a few guys that came from, was it New Mexico State? Where
Pavia?
Yeah, but the coach that I believe had been the head man there also came to Vandy and brought some pieces with him when he became the DC. Pavia was QB, obviously. You're right. There's continuity, but there's also in this age when guys are going to transfer, you better get the right ones that fit, that don't mess up that chemistry that you just talked about.
Oh, 100%. I'm all for getting certain pieces, but I'm talking about building a whole team. Like the groundwork of that Vanderbilt team was established years before that guys that came out of the mud and built an actual program with Clark Lee, the head coach, right? Like that's what I'm talking about. Then you got to go get pieces that you can and get the right guys that aren't bad apples, that aren't going to spoil the rest of the group, especially when things go bad and you have a down game or whatever, and all of a sudden they just start turning on each other or they turn on the coaching staff. Because a lot of these kids in college football at big time programs at your Power 4 schools, some of these kids are making more money than the guy that's coaching their position.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So how the hell are you going to be able to tell if you don't have kids that buy into it, right? Buy into what the coaches are talking about, their standard, what they believe in. How the hell is a coach? It's just like the NFL. You see it all the time. I'm sure Trent has stories, but how are you going to tell a guy, and especially a young kid that you've given millions of dollars to, or close to $1 million to go play one season? How are you going to tell him that this kid what to do when that kid makes more than you make? Right? It makes it impossible because these kids are all about themselves. So you got to be able to plug in the right kids. But I mean, as our producer Steve said, Clemson has 81% of their team returning this year. The number one in the country from that. Like, and Clemson, I think Clemson's going to be a really, really good team this year. But that's my take on it. You got to have great players, and I'm all for the blue chips and all that. But I think it's retention of the roster that is the biggest key to me.
Trent, you want to jump in on that before we switch to our final piece?
No, I got a question for y'all real quick, and we can hit on this a little bit. Like is the game is not played for the love no more. Like it's like, and so it's kind of hard. Like AJ was saying, like it's not a team no more. Like team is what y'all did on the field and off the field, and then off the field made it okay. We family. Know what I'm saying? Like it made that much of it, man. So I agree with you, man. My question to y'all, like, has the game gone so far to where it's like it's no love for the game anymore?
To me, for the successful teams, it still is.
Right.
And can you keep it when adversity hits? Can you keep it from completely splintering? I know one thing that I've heard Kalen DeBoer say. We talk about the money piece and how it destroys everything, and there's no question it can. We all know what money can do in life, period. If it's not handled well, and uh, if you're chasing the money and not chasing the stuff that matters most, should matter the most. And one of the things that he and I talked about is that while, yeah, a lot of this stuff is at a lot of places, it's negotiation about what can you pay a guy, what numbers do you have to work with, and that's a real thing. One thing that really helps in recruiting is that when a kid comes in and that's the first thing he wants to talk about, or early on, that's what his conversation is. What are you going to pay me? It helps the recruiting process easily because Alabama is one of those places that can afford to say, we appreciate your time. We're going to move on because there are enough of those guys who do understand, just like you guys dealt with Coach Saban, who was able to talk about, yeah, here's the immediate money that may be there. I'm not talking in the recruiting process or while you're playing, but if you go out early and it's not the right time really for you, you may have the chance to make this. But if you wait, you can make this amount. Or if you don't do the right thing, was it Rolando McClain? He tells the story about Rolando got into something and he was maybe in the right for wanting to do whatever it was he wanted to do, off the field deal. And he's a coach where I come from. That's just, you got to handle things the right way. You got to handle it like a man, and nobody's going to disrespect me like that. Coach said, I hear you, Rolando, but I'm going to put it real simple to you. If you're a first round draft pick, here's the money you're going to have a chance to make. If you get in trouble and you slide in the draft, here's what the money is, and you can never catch up on that contract. And he goes, Coach, I see your point. You ain't never going to have a problem with me again.
I'll
To
tell you what.
answer Trent, well, to answer Trent's deal, Coach Saban used to say it best. What made Coach Saban great was he was able to take 125 selfish assholes and create a team, right? And that's the key. Is that what coaches out there? Because everybody can pay somebody, everybody can find boosters, collective bargaining, NIL, all these big schools have it. But what coach can take selfish assholes that now 105 and create an actual team? That's where you're going to find your success.
I'll tell you what. If Roe said he handled something a certain way, I agree with Roe. I'm telling you this as a grown man now.
Yeah.
If Roe say something, it goes. I don't care what you say. So Chris, you lost me in that conversation a long time ago.
I'm just telling you what the conversation was between Roe and Coach. And Coach got Roe's attention pretty quick. All right, here's the last thing for today's show. What are the loudest moments that you experienced at Bryant-Denny Stadium? The venue, to me, in the last 10, 15 years, went from being a place where people made some noise but observed. Now, I think it's different. I think they're proactive rather than reactive when it comes to making noise and making it a tough place to play. But for you guys, give me the loudest moments that you remember. You want to start it off, AJ?
I mean, I was just going to say I agree with your take because I never thought while we were playing, I think it was more of the older attendance age attendance at our games, where it felt more like they cheered at certain times, but it was never insanely loud. And you talk to opposing teams, they would kind of say the same thing. Like the crowd noise was never a huge factor for us playing there. Were there times? Yes, but the cheering during our time, I felt, um, was down from what it is now. I thought being at the Georgia game last year, and hearing the crowd, like I'm like, damn, it's louder than you know, I feel like I could ever remember.
Yeah.
At the same time, I was while I'm playing, I'm so in the zone to where like it's almost like Kevin Costner and um, Clear the Mechanism. Like if I'm on the sideline, I'm not really paying attention to the defense unless it's like a third down situation. You know they're in third and long and we're about to get the ball, but most of the time I'm over there on the board and we're talking to the running backs or the receivers or whatever O line. So um but last year, that Georgia game, that was loud. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Trent, how about for you?
To me, Alabama is when anytime we play LSU. Like the game of the century. Is it game of the century? Yeah, game of the
Yeah.
century.
Yeah.
Like that.
The one that
that
didn't
was
matter.
loud. Yeah, the one that didn't matter. Yeah, that was loud. And to me, it was even loud when we went in overtime when we was on offense.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that place was rocking then. But I'm kind of like with AJ. You hear a lot of people say, and this is what I say to back that up, AJ. A lot of people say that, yeah, Bama wasn't that loud. I mean, I just had a coach say this the other day, and I'm like, bro, you went to Mississippi State. We ain't had to get loud for y'all. So, no, and that's not throwing shade. That's my guy. But one thing about it, like, it's kind of hard when you're the team, especially at the time. Like, it's certain stuff they expected us to do.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it got to be. Well, everybody got to be up on their feet now. Like, it got to be up on their seat. You know what I'm saying? They got to be standing up and cheering because you never know. But when we was playing, it was like, oh yeah, that's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And that's
I
not
agree
the
with that.
downplay. You know what I mean? That's not the downplay what these teams doing now. But it's just like at
It
the
was
time,
expected with you
yeah,
guys.
it was expected for us to go out and dominate, and we was going to dominate through the fourth quarter and take their will, and that was our identity. Now it's like, oh, we don't, da-da-da-da-da.
Before you guys arrived and before Coach Saban arrived, the Alabama-Florida game, Urban Meyer's probably second year, maybe there. Could have been his first. I think it was his second. But Alabama was just, we're trying to be Alabama again. We've been crippled by the NCAA stuff. Mike Shula's, I think that was year 3. I may be wrong. Where he ultimately got the 10 wins. But it's the game against Florida and early in the year and first play from scrimmage, Brody Coyle play action to pro throw and takes it to the house. And it's just nuts. And that falls in line with what you were talking about. Not that we're in the same situation now that we were then, but it's a reset. Everybody expected it to happen with you guys because it had been done and people just expect you to do it again. And the newness, if you will, to a degree had worn off. Now there is a reset. There's a new coach. It's a new situation. I don't think the standard has been lowered, but we've dropped below the standard, certainly record-wise, this past year with, I say, only 9 wins. There's a half dozen schools that we could come up with pretty quick that got to 9 wins last year, and they're ecstatic, talking about how great it is. It's just a different – it happens. It's cyclical, but the standard for Alabama doesn't change. But, man, those moments where the lid's lifted off the place are I'll tell you, last year for me, it may have been when even while the game was going on, it was halftime of the game where it was dedicated as Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and Thunderstruck starts up, and Coach Saban appears in the tunnel, and here he comes down the tunnel one more time.
Man, I wish he would have had us with him, like all his guys.
That I do know this. It was talked about. I do know that was discussed. But I think the real feeling was that they wanted it to be him, and then when he got to the field, Miss Terry. And she met him basically at the goalpost, and they walked to midfield. And it was amazing. And once he gets there, I gotta start. And you talk about feeling the pressure now. That was one. It's like, this is history.
Moment,
don't mess it up.
Chris, was also possibly the quietest moment as well. Because Prothro broke his leg that game.
Yeah, he broke his leg.
No doubt. That's exactly right.
So you had the loudest and the pin drop moment.
Oh, it was awful.
In Alabama history.
It was absolutely awful. I had a way to finish the show on a downer, AJ. Great job.
What I'm here
for. Hey, fun. Always is with you guys. Really, really enjoy it. Looking forward to doing this again. Appreciate everybody taking part of the show again. Hope you'll rate, review, and check us out across social media at The Dynasty Bama. And the new episodes dropping on all those social media platforms, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you pick them up. That's where you'll find it. Just go to thedynastybama.com. For AJ, for Trent, I'm Chris. Roll Tide, everybody.